But
you know who moved out and thought about some different shit, bought his mom a crib at fucking 18?
that's where we was going, Brody.
I know, bro. My nigga
Kwame Brown. So we was going right there, bro. I'm glad you said that. So anybody not familiar, Kwame Brown, former number 1 pick for the Washington Wizards. He's considered one of the biggest draft busts in NBA history. So meaning his career didn't pan out how people thought it would for a number 1 pick straight out of high school.
That's number 1. Number 2, and more importantly, Kwame Brown is gone. The City of Angels, Hollywood, just should be celebrated. Throw a parade already, whether you win a championship or not. This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play. No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm sorry to tell everybody the truth. The man cannot play the game of basketball. He has small hands. He can't catch the ball. He's got bad feet. He can't really move, even though he's mobile. Doesn't really know what he's doing. Doesn't have a post move that he puts to memory that he can do 2 times in a row. He has no game whatsoever, plays no defense, doesn't have the heart, the passion, or anything that comes with it. And you're asking me whether they gave up too much? Please, the Los Angeles Lakers knew exactly what they were doing. They should be celebrating right now, and Kobe Bryant should not be saying a word. For all of that, you give up Kwame Brown? Please, there's nothing to think about. There's nothing to think about.
I don't like that word, Cheese, but go ahead.
So we about to get into it. So recently, if anybody's been paying attention, All the Smoke is a podcast with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. They had an episode where they were making jokes like most people have for the last 20 years about Kwame Brown and how his career and how he wasn't a good basketball player like people thought. Mm-hmm. So Kwame Brown has started releasing rant videos, and he's created like his own YouTube channel, and his videos have been going crazy. He's gained a massive following.
Stephen A., you bald forehead, people thinking you tough. Saying all kind of shit like, oh, then you come see me. Well, let's go to Seattle and you sign a, well, Seattle, you ain't got to sign no waiver. Meet me in Seattle where you can have mutual combat and talk like that. I'll slap a tooth. It'll look like you got a toupee on the front of your head, or how hard I'll slap the back of your head, motherfucker. The hell you talking about? Y'all.
Have you guys seen these videos? And what are your opinions on them? Like your initial opinions of these joints?
Saw every single last one of them.
I only seen a couple of them, Jones, but my opinion is I'm glad they finally clapping back. You're not going to attack me for 20 years. Fuck y'all.
So you were glad that he attacked back. Like you were glad, and you're glad with how he's going about responding to his critics.
I'm just glad that he doing something, bro. Because I feel like it's been 20 years since he was, 20 years or so since he was drafted?
He was drafted in 2001, exactly 20 years.
So,
2001, my fault, yeah, 2001.
Yeah, 2001. So, like, bro, it's been a long time. He been getting killed every year for 20 years, just quietly saying nothing. And the nigga's still dragging his name through the mud. I would have said something a long time ago, keep it a buck with you. And the fact that he was smart enough to create this YouTube channel, build this following, and maybe probably monetize this, I think he's doing the damn right thing.
Okay. What about you? And what's your initial thoughts on everything that all his videos and stuff?
My initial thoughts were I can never be mad at a man for defending himself. Regardless of how far he goes in doing it, he's defending himself. Okay.
So, and I guess you mentioned this leak, like you was like, yeah, he's monetizing. So what I noticed was it looked like after the episode of All the Smoke came out and Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson were joking about how he wasn't good, it looked like the first like reaction video that he had to it was kind of just like a natural John where I'm just going to defend myself because everyone's drawn. But then when he realized how popular he was getting, how many people were drawn to it, because to be honest, I've heard all these jokes and I've seen his career highlights and everybody making fun of him, but I've never heard Kwame Brown speak before.
Nope.
No, I don't think anybody has.
Nope.
So were y'all surprised by his personality?
No.
Well, one, keeping in context, I'm 26, Esco, you 28, right?
Yeah.
And then you 26 too, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
He was drafted in 2001, so like you were 8, we were 6. So while he was first in the league, we ain't really know him. And then I'll save this point for later, but just to briefly touch on it, it shows how the media can kind of shape your perspective of somebody, because I'm 6 years old. I don't really know who's doing what in the league. So finally, when I'm old enough to watch basketball on my own and comprehend, all I know is that he's a horrible player from what you're telling me. And I never heard of him. I never seen him. I saw him play a couple times with Kobe. So then he just faded out of the league. So then when I heard him speak, I'm like, I never really seen him ever. I seen him play like maybe 5 games. I heard he's a bad player. Now he's talking, so I'm interested. So I feel like a lot of people were in our boat like, yo, we hear all this. Let me see what he has to say.
For
sure.
me, I wasn't surprised to see his personality or hear how he spoke and shit because his name's Kwame Brown, and he's from I think like Charleston or South Carolina or some shit like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Like, bro, come on, like, what you think a nigga like that from there is gonna be like?
But I think that's what Ant, like, it's similar to what Ant is saying. I didn't even know where he was from. Like you said, we had this perception from the media. We're gonna talk about that right now. But like me initially seeing these videos, I was like, damn, this boy, like he a real Southern bull. He seemed real outspoken, seemed real like not timid. I think like it's crazy how the perception works with the media. So like, you wanted to talk on that, Ant. Like, how do you think about what do you think about the media and how they've shaped this man's career and how we view him like as a
Well, I don't like it, but I don't. From certain people, I don't expect more because the majority of I'm not gonna say the majority, but the most popular sports analysts, they didn't play basketball or sports in general. So a lot of times they're speaking in such definites and making things so dramatic. Like Bron or Jordan can't do anything wrong, but then Kwame Brown and these people can't do anything right. It has to be an extreme. They're trying to get ratings. Where I came from it though was we all played basketball. I expect Matt Barnes, and Stack 5 to have a little more like respect than that. It's like, yo, y'all played the game. Y'all know it's never that simple. It's not just, yo, you get drafted, you're not good. There's always more to the story. And I got the facts on my phone because you're talking to a person who on a lower level, I'd be considered a college buzz. But as basketball players, we know.
We're gonna talk about that too.
As basketball players, we know there's always more that goes into it. It's not just you show up and you're bad. Like the basketball players should know it's a lot of behind the scenes things that can influence on the court stuff.
Yeah, but I feel like for in Stack and Matt Barnes' case, not Stack, I don't know anything like that. Fucking Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes' case, I feel like they played against that nigga in 2001 and when he was in the league. So they know he's like.
But Esco, do you think it's going too far if you're interviewing Jeannie Buss and she's talking about the Paul Gasol trade, which Kwame Brown was a part of, and they say, "Oh, you only had to really trade one player because Kwame Brown's not a player." It's like, yo, you wilding now.
Not even talked about this shit.
Yeah, it's like, come on, bro.
I mean,
okay. All right, so let's respond to that though. Do you think they were out of bounds for speaking on his basketball career? Because what I've noticed with this situation is basically they made jokes about his basketball career and his basketball skill. So let's first establish this. I got his career stats, bro. Kwame Brown played. He was drafted in 2001. He was drafted by Michael Jordan. And they say a big reason why he was the number one pick in 2001. A big reason why his career didn't pan out how it was supposed to was because he was drafted by Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was playing on the Wizards at that time, and they said Michael Jordan was like an asshole to him. And then when he went to the Lakers, they said Kobe was an asshole.
It gets a little deeper than that, Cheese, because we're going to really have to break it down because they really slanders this man's name.
All right, so I'm about to. So let me give his stats real quick. He played in 607 games, averaged 6.6 points and 5 rebounds. Shot 49% from the field.
Okay.
And so he played about 12 or so seasons. Off the rip, just ask this question: was Kwame Brown? Was he a bum?
You said 12 seasons.
He played about, I think he played about like 7 to 12 seasons. It was something like that. 607 games. So it was something like that. Was he a winner or a loser? Like, was he a bad basketball player?
I think he was a player put in the wrong positions because when he was originally drafted, if you look it up, for whatever reason in 2001, Michael Jordan was trying to compete for a championship. Don't ask me why. Like, but he was. The reason he drafted, and he's a GM and a player at the same time, so that's even crazy. The reason he drafted Kwame was to try to put him in a trade for Elton Brand, who was fire at the time, because he thought Elton Brand would help him win the Eastern Conference. So when the trade doesn't get through, he has an 18-year-old, 7-foot kid that he doesn't even want. And you already know how Michael Jordan was treating Scottie Pippen and them. How you think you want to treat an 18-year-old kid who can't even produce on the floor immediately? That's not fair to him.
I think that's a good point.
To answer your question, Cheese, I don't think he was a bad basketball player, but I think he was playing some bad basketball, given where he was drafted, his, all the investment they put into him with that draft pick and everything like that. He played bad basketball. He did. But will I say he was a bust? No, because if you played 6 seasons in the NBA,
You played 10, bro.
10 seasons in the NBA, you're not a bust.
Mm-mm.
You know how many Jimmer Fredette? How many? He hasn't played 10 seasons in the NBA, and he was
Anthony Bennett was out of there in 3 years.
Yeah, so it's a lot of dudes that can't play that long in the league or never made it that far. So to play 10 seasons, you can't be a bust. Can't.
I'm gonna be honest. I would say he was a bust. He definitely was a bust for sure.
Well, my thing, Kyle, though, is what,
bro.
But well, here's the thing. I don't think he was necessarily a terrible basketball player.
Name some other busts.
Anthony Bennett.
Anthony Bennett.
Going by what they say a bust is.
Good in the league.
3. He played 3 years in the league. Well, hear me out though, Lee. I think he was a bust. I don't think I think he's a bust for everything that you mentioned though, because he was drafted number 1. So I think that's a big thing when it comes to perspective. Like in general in life, you got to look at something. It depends on the perspective you look at it from. For the average NBA player, he played 10 seasons, averaged 6 points and 5 rebounds. He was a solid basketball player. Not everyone's going to be superstars, but he got drafted number 1.
Let me speak on that exact point though, Kyle, which I feel is not fair. Let's say, okay, you as a player, right? You were great in your role on our team. Now, your game might not necessarily fit you being the number 1 player because that's just not how you play, right?
Okay.
But is it your fault that you have the game you have now and then your coach just decided to, without you asking, throw you into the leading scorer role where Bloomsburg's win or losses depends on you? Kwame Brown is who he is. He can't help where he gets picked. So he's the player he's always going to be. If you pick him number 1 and then try to throw expectations on him that he never was, how's that his fault? He's always at most a 10 and 10 guy. Nobody, like, who said he was supposed to be KG?
Nobody, but he's still a bust.
That's not fair, though.
So I got a comparative question, though. And so when LeBron got to Cleveland, he was 18, right?
LeBron is LeBron, though.
Listen, though. He was number 1 pick, 18 years old. Similar situation, right or wrong.
Okay.
Them fucking Cavs teammates did not like that nigga, and they thought he was gonna be a bum ass nigga. Remember that? You saw interviews?
No. You're exactly right. I feel like there's a little bit of a difference, though.
I know it's a little different. I said similar. I didn't say the same.
Yeah, okay.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying Bron was drafted. I feel like I don't like the word bust because it takes blame away from the GMs. The player is who he is. LeBron is a good draft. You thought he was this, he's that. You drafted him in the right position. If a guy is, if I'm a GM and I just randomly say, yo, I'm drafting Jimmer Fredette as my first pick, why does Jimmer Fredette have to live up to these expectations of something that he never was just because my dumb ass decided to pick him first?
Well, here's the thing though, and you don't necessarily
Kwame Brown was never that.
Well, here's the thing though, and number 1, they killed Jordan for that pick, number 1, so he gets killed for that, and Michael Jordan.
Let Jordan off the hook for that.
No, they don't, because Michael Jordan.
How come they're still not talking about Jordan, but we're talking about Kwame right now?
Probably one of the worst GMs. All the time.
Yeah. Everyone says Michael Jordan's a terrible GM, and he's a terrible owner. None of his teams have ever been good. He gets that reputation. He's just the best basketball player, so you tend to overlook it a little bit.
Okay,
but they do kill him for that. And here's the thing. My thing is, you can still be a bust. It's not his fault that he's necessarily a bust. It's just, he got picked at a certain spot with the number 1 pick, and he didn't live up to it. That makes him a bust. Does that make him a terrible basketball player is where I think the arguments get scazy.
Okay. I just don't like the word because as far as expectations, it's like who's what expectation. I don't like that there's an expectation just because you're number 1. Because in reality, how many superstars are there in the NBA today?
Well, 15 maybe?
No, there's not 15 superstars. There's maybe 5.
Okay, 5.
So there's a lot of number 1s who ain't really that because somebody has to get picked number 1 every year. So it's like number 1 doesn't mean anything. It just means, okay, out of these group of people, we thought you were the best. But in reality, nobody really there's like a very low percentage reaches that what you think a number 1's supposed to be. So it's like these expectations are unrealistic.
Okay. Let's make it personal then. And I got 2 questions for both of y'all. Do you think that you were a bust in your basketball career based on your expectations?
Off of mine or?
in your basketball career, we're gonna make it
No,
personal.
I mean off of my expectations or off of
off anybody's any type of expectations, yours,
Okay.
whoever, however you want to answer it. And then in life, was there anything that you think that you didn't live up to?
Well, I'll go first. As far as basketball, if you leaving up the people like Stephen A. and Skip, yeah, I'm a bust.
But why would you say that?
Because according to them, anything, situations, teams, chemistry, none of that matters. All that matters is the final result, and my final results were horrible, so I'm a bust.
Okay. Would you consider yourself a bust?
No, because I know there's a lot more to the story.
Okay.
I would say I was put in positions that I shouldn't have had to be that, but
Okay.
you know.
What about you, Leek?
I think that I am a bust. In general, just the general population and to myself. I'm a 6'5" nigga behind a desk.
Well, that's not fair though, because how many people really go to the league, bro?
Nah, not the league. Just like I don't like saying shit like this because I feel like a hater, but I'm not a hating ass nigga. I'm really not. I'm really happy for everybody that's playing overseas. Everybody getting money. I'm proud of y'all niggas. I swear to God. But there's a lot of niggas over there I know I'm better than. And it's no fault of theirs that they're over there playing. It's just missed opportunities or things that go different ways. Like you said, circumstance.
But bro, that goes to our point where because
That don't mean I'm not a bust though. I'm still a bust in my eyes and to the world. I don't give a fuck. I should be playing anyway, bro. Like, cause I feel like I was good.
I'm just saying, I got to the point where I'm like, I'm not gonna beat myself up about this shit anymore. I've never been on the court in college for a full season. How was I supposed to prosper? He tore his ACL. What the fuck is he? And his MCL. What is he supposed to do?
I didn't say I was. I don't blame myself for that shit. I don't harbor myself for that shit. None of that. Like, I don't like feel down about that shit. None of that shit. But the truth of the matter is, I am a bust, bro. I went D1 out of fucking high school. I was one of the best players in Philly growing up.
But I feel like
bust in high school. I should be playing pro basketball. I'm a bust, bro.
I feel like bust should apply if nothing goes wrong. You were in favorable positions and you just flop. Like, let's say, okay, you go out there, you never got hurt, you get 25 shots a game, and then you came out averaging 5 points. You're like, damn, he wasn't like that. But it's like, all right, you good, you get hurt, then you got to restructure how you play, and then you want a different team. That changes things, man. That changes things. I'm just saying, it changes things.
No, listen, bro. You're right. I agree.
I just don't like the word bust because it disrespects good players. It disrespects good players.
It does. And I feel like I wouldn't be like, I would definitely be mad if somebody else called me a bust or shit like that. I feel like I know you say that shit about myself, but like, I don't give a damn if you think that shit. Think what you want. But to answer your other question, Cheese, do I feel like
I got two. You can answer both of them. Leak. Do you think it was let me see. It's two
answer
parts.
The bus question. Answer the second John.
Yeah, it's the second John. I'm trying to yeah, do you think is there something in life that you think you didn't live up to?
Oh, so is there something in life I think I didn't live up to? No, because by the same token of the shit I just said where I'm a bust, I feel like I did or am doing everything that I could have possibly done to get to that level. And some things didn't go in my favor, like some of the points Ant made. I tore my fucking ACL, my meniscus upside down for 4 years. And I just played like that, like a dumbass. So it's a lot of shit. Or when I went to UMBC as a freshman, and my week before our season started, my fucking head coach got fired. Nigga that recruited me, nigga had me playing, he had all the plays, and he got fired. And I just stayed at the school, and they put me in a different position, and I never recovered from shit like that. So it's just like Ant said, a lot of circumstance. So yes, I'm a bust, but no, I didn't. There's nothing I didn't live up to, and I'm not in jail. I don't got 18 kids. I got my own crib. I got my own car. I got a happy girl. Like I'm a good dude. So no, I feel like I'm all right, bro.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, even with just us having this conversation, is a good conversation to have. Everything is based on your perspective and everything is relative. So to answer the question myself, as far as for basketball specifically, I'm a 6'7" man with a 7-foot wingspan. Just hear me out though, Ant. Hear me out though. With those type of God-given, natural abilities, to the general public with basketball, I probably was a bust.
I would call you an overachiever.
No. I'm about to get there too. Hold on. I would say with those just natural things with humans, I probably was a bust. If you listen, there's so many people who probably look at me and be like, nigga, if I had what you had, I'd be in the goddamn NBA. They would be wrong. They would be wrong, but I understand how people could say that. So off general, I'm probably a bust with that. But I think also being as I was coming up with basketball, I was like 160 pounds as a senior in high school. So I think on that front, I overachieved because I was such a late bloomer that when the fact that I was able to even go D2 from where I started from at such a late age, and then also play a little bit of professional basketball, I overachieved in that front. So I think you see the two differences. Like if you look at it from one way, I probably was a bust basketball wise. But if you see it from a different way, I overachieved in a lot of ways too, and made it farther than most hoopers in life. As far as going and playing college ball, most people don't do that. And then playing a little bit professionally. So it's always how you choose to look at it. But I probably would say when I go home, when I sleep at night and think about my basketball stuff, I'll be like, damn, I was a bust.
I think the overall thing with this is though, it's like, bro, Nick, nobody can call you a bust. And then nobody out of the three of us, like all of us said bust, but we never walk anywhere and anybody who did what we did before disrespect our craft. They know I'm for real. They know you for real. They know you for real. So who are we to let somebody like, especially Kwame Brown, let people, when has Skip Bayless ever picked up a ball? When has Stephen A. Smith ever picked up a ball? You can't say nothing about my career.
Stephen A. jump for a little cash, but his hairline pushed way back.
I definitely. Here's the thing. I as far as with basketball, I say I'm a bust because I think all of us we have the highest expectations for ourselves at the end of the day. So when I see the game and I be like, damn, where I should have been or where I could have been with my potential, I myself might look at myself as a bust. But I know at the end of my basketball career, I can give a bucket to anybody who played on any level, and I've done it before. So for that, it's like I've all of us have done that. So we're at the higher level of our sport. Now, as far as with life, I would say that I kind of feel like I'm living up to my potential, but I definitely feel like I could live up more and do better things now. Like I feel like just being a black man, being smart, just being able to do certain things. I do feel like it's certain things I got to start achieving more, but I'm still young. So I feel like, I go back and forth. I go back and forth with living up to my potential in life in general.
Let me guess. You've been thinking about starting a podcast, but you just don't know where to get started. Well, I have some good news for you. The Laundromat is feeling generous, and we're going to let you know how we've been recording for almost a year now. Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout gets your show listed on every major podcast platform. And if that's not good enough, you'll get a great-looking podcast website, audio players that can drop into other websites, detailed analytics to see how people are listening, and tools to promote your episodes and more. So follow the link in our show notes and let Buzzsprout know we sent you. You'll get a $20 Amazon gift card if you sign up for a paid plan, and it helps support the show. So stop procrastinating and start that podcast.